Your baby is fed. Their diaper is clean. They're not too hot or too cold, and yet they're crying. Sound familiar? Maybe you've paced the room at 2 a.m., checking everything you can think of, wondering, what am I missing? Here's the surprising truth. Sometimes your baby isn't crying because something is wrong. Sometimes they're crying because their brain is doing exactly what it was designed to do. And once you understand what's happening inside your baby's mind, those mysterious tears can start to make a lot more sense. Let's talk about why your baby cries even when everything seems perfectly fine. One of the biggest misconceptions about babies is that crying always means a problem needs fixing, but developmental psychologists have found that crying is much more than a distress signal. It's actually your baby's primary form of communication. Researchers like John Bowlby, who studied attachment and early relationships, showed that babies are biologically wired to seek connection with their caregivers. Crying helps keep that connection close. Think of it like your baby's only language. Adults can say, "I'm tired," "I'm overwhelmed," or "I need a hug." Your baby can't. So their brain uses crying instead. The Harvard Center on the Developing Child also explains that young babies have immature nervous systems. They experience the world intensely, but don't yet have the ability to regulate those feelings. Imagine walking into a crowded concert with bright lights, loud sounds, and unfamiliar faces, but you couldn't leave or tell anyone how you felt. That's sometimes what everyday life feels like to a baby. Crying is often their way of releasing that overload. Let's look at what this can actually look like in daily life. Imagine a 2-month-old who starts crying every evening around the same time. They've been fed, they're healthy, nothing obvious is wrong. What's happening? Throughout the day, their brain has been processing new sounds, faces, smells, and sensations. By evening, all that information is piled up. The crying may simply be your baby's way of unloading a very busy day. Now picture a 10-month-old at the park. They've had fun crawling, exploring, and meeting new people. Then suddenly they start crying when it's time to leave. It might look like they're upset for no reason. But their growing brain is learning about transitions, expectations, and disappointment for the very first time. Those emotions can feel huge. Or maybe you have a 2-year-old who bursts into tears because you gave them the blue cup instead of the red one. Every parent has had one of those moments. To us, it's just a cup. To a toddler whose brain is still learning emotional control, it's a major life event. The tears aren't manipulation. They're communication. And that's a very important difference. So what can you do when your baby cries and nothing seems obviously wrong? First, focus on connection before correction. Instead of immediately searching for a problem to solve, try holding your baby close, making eye contact, or speaking softly. Remember, their brain is often asking for reassurance, not a solution. Second, create calming routines. Predictable patterns help babies feel safe. Simple routines around naps, meals, and bedtime reduce stress on a developing nervous system. Third, watch for overstimulation. If your baby has had a busy day, try reducing noise, bright lights, or extra activity. Sometimes less stimulation is exactly what their brain needs. Fourth, name emotions for older babies and toddlers. You can say things like, "You're feeling frustrated," or "That was disappointing." Research shows that helping children label emotions supports healthy emotional development over time. And finally, trust your relationship. You don't need to stop every tear instantly. Being present, calm, and responsive teaches your baby that difficult feelings can be handled safely. That's a powerful lesson for a developing brain. So if your baby cries when everything seems fine, take a deep breath. It doesn't automatically mean you're doing something wrong. In many cases, those tears are simply part of how a growing brain learns, communicates, and copes with a big new world. Of course, if crying is excessive, persistent, or accompanied by signs of illness, it's always a good idea to speak with your pediatrician. But for many parents, understanding the psychology behind crying can bring a lot of peace. If this sounds like your baby, I'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below and tell me, when does your baby's mystery crying happen most often? And if you found this helpful, follow the Baby Mind Coach for more science-backed tips to help you understand your baby's amazing mind. You're doing better than you think.